Oh,
But
hello.
hello. Oh, hello. Hello, and welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, if you guys out there in the world at large didn't know what you stumbled into, it's the Always Strikes Last podcast. Prepare to be moderately entertained.
Yes.
For those who maybe aren't aware, a podcast is where we talk at you for maybe 30 to 45 minutes at a time, and you listen on some sort of audio listening device.
Yeah. And if you're hearing this and you're not familiar with audio listening devices because you've come through a time portal, you're from the Middle Ages or something, this is not a demon.
Yeah.
The three guys.
It's the walkie-talkie.
There's actually three
moving
small
pictures.
humans in this tiny box.
Exactly. We live here. We're trapped. Let us out.
Do not break the tiny box to find us. We will disappear and find you from another tiny box. So how we all doing?
Doing good. Doing really good.
Pretty good.
Nice. So we have had a jam-packed couple of weeks here. We've got two great old books coming out, right? I know a book that Jack and I have both been super excited about. And then I got myself stuck in not one but two tournaments over the course of 2 weeks, and actually a third one coming up this weekend.
That's a lot of tournaments.
It is
amazing.
It's almost too many tournaments. It's almost like last year all over again.
Oh my
Carry
God.
the banner high, being the weekend warrior, represent ASL into the lights, those bright lights of fame.
Indeed. So I had the pleasure and the opportunity of being able to play at Sparkle Party.
Sparkle Party Deathmatch 8? Are we at
Doom
8 now?
I'm just going to call it Doom. I don't know what number we're on. We're just going to call it Doom.
Okay.
And then we'll add a Doom for every time afterwards.
Sounds good.
So it's a competitive event up here in the Ballard neighborhood of Seattle, run by Dimensional Cascade. All amazing guys, great players too, like peak competitive players, as we would say. We didn't get Matt in the tournament, Matt Beasley, who was gracious enough to TO it and not come through and just knock everybody off their high horses. And so for this tournament, I went ahead and brought an all Eshin list.
Now, Eshin, those are the rats, right? That's a Skaven, just for everyone's edification.
Yep. So just all rats that are also ninjas. So ninja rats that are ninjas.
Yep.
So I won't go too far into. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jack.
I was just going to say for our listeners that there are some rats in this book that aren't, pew warp lightning engineers or plague people. These are the other ones.
Yeah, these are the pew throwing stars. So, excuse me.
In the Army Book of Skaven, rats are divided into two separate but equally important categories.
Yes. Those
who pew with lightning and those who are ninjas. These are their stories.
Yes. So I won't lie. When I walked into this tournament, I was going to be surprised if I won one game because it's straight up a meme list, and us with back problems all know that after a full 5-game tournament, you're pretty much destroyed by the end of the day, even on the first day, right? So I was like, okay, let's make a list that are there wins on turn 1 or loses on turn 1.
Nice.
And also lean with the models that we have. So I went ahead and took 2 Vermin Lord Deceivers,
nice,
2 Death Masters, 3 units of Night Runners at the men, and 3 units of Gutter Runners doubled up, and threw them in a Galatian Sharpshooters. So the idea with the list was to take the 30 Gunner Runners, shoot off all the Galatian vets, right, using Sharpshooters because they just can perform way above their points level, rolling 6s or mortals on both combat and shooting. And because I have 3 of the Eshin characters in there, they just go ahead and get +1 to hit and +1 to wound on every hero in the game in combat.
Yes.
Nice.
So, basically the idea of the list was everything null deploys and is in your face turn 1, except for the Vermin Lord Deceivers, which one of them could make a cast to get within 6 inches away from you, and then the other one had the artifact to get within 9 inches away from you, maybe if I wanted to null redeploy. And then the 2 Death Masters were basically attacks and a way to keep it flavorful. They hidden one of each of the Night Runners and essentially they became my new models of why do I take these? Because regardless of how good these models are, I will never roll anything more than a 1 or a 2 for these.
Nice.
So, we got to keep that up. So yeah, first opponent was Roman Lanzarada, great dude from the Great North of Canada. This was our official tie now. So him and I are 1-1 on each other on Sparkle Party.
Ooh.
Last time, I can't even remember what I brought. Oh yeah, I brought the initial Skaven list to last Sparkle Party, and he done whooped my booty with it. So he was playing Soulblight Gravelords in the last one, and he decided to start with Beast of Chaos. So we brought the Bulgor Bomb and, normally what we're seeing now. And then kind of just filled in everything that he could with the specific models that he had access to since he was just starting.
Just to interrupt you, Matt, the Bulgor Bomb being 6 to 9 Bulgors and then like a single Cygor, some Bray Shamans, a couple of those fancy Spawn. Am I right? Is this the list I'm thinking of? Ish. There's like a core to it.
Yep.
And then you fill it in with, whatever you're excited about.
Yep, just more Ungor. He actually brought
Ungor Raiders to shoot from off the board.
Yeah, he didn't have any Raiders, so it was just Ungor. And that's where it was kind of a little bit off from the bomb. But yeah, it's pretty solid net list. But it did have a Gorgon as well, which everybody was excited about. But since they've gone to 4-ups to hit, I think they're trash now.
Here we go.
So
those of us who have like 4 to 6 of them sitting somewhere.
That's me.
Sadly,
that's me.
I bought a Gorgon recently because I thought it was a cool model.
Oh, they're amazing. I have a bunch of them, but they went from being one of the most consistent things that Beast of Chaos had by naturally hitting on 3s to now being support. I don't think they're going to do any better than support for Beast of Chaos list. So I can't honestly remember the mission because I didn't write them down because I didn't do my homework. But the first game against him, I ended up pulling it off. And that was primarily because I already understand how squishy Beasts of Chaos are. And, the amount of board edge control he could possibly have, I knew that I would be able to just hang in the middle, let him do his thing, and then at some point I'll have to deal with a Bravery Bomb. As long as I'm spread out enough, that or the Bulgor Bomb. The Bulgor Bomb wouldn't be able to come in and just nuke everything. So essentially what I started out doing was spacing everything out across the deployment zone so that he wouldn't get a good area to, pull me into combat or pull me into somewhere he could charge and then get through to my deceivers and then just spread out and grab the objectives early on in the game. And then as the stuff came in, just basically, countered here, countered there, countered here. And it was a really tight game. I feel like that's pretty much all of the games with the Eshin list are going to be tight games, right? Especially when you're going up against a null deployment enemy. So everything went pretty swimmingly. And then he came down with the Bulgor bomb, and I forgot the rule where the Doom Bull can just charge in your phase, get on in, get some combat in. And so I think he had Tusk Helm on that. So that actually ended up knocking a Deceiver out before I wanted it to be out. But in the end, I'd positioned him and that combat enough where he wasn't going to be able to get his grand strat and, get the extra points that he would need to get a tie with me. So very good game. So now we're 1-1, and I look forward to the grudge match, Roman.
That's awesome. Nothing better than a grudge match.
So it sounds like you won the battle, but lost the war if the war was to have a 1-turn game, because you had like a KG 5-turn game. Is that what happened?
I think it made it to turn 4. Nope, it was turn 5. Yep. So, the great thing about that game is he's a wonderful opponent. So I didn't feel it. First game of the day, you're already excited. My back will hurt later, right?
Nice.
So second game was against Louis Philippe.
Okay.
And look at me not doing my homework.
That's all right. To be fair, we told you we were going to talk about this like 10 minutes ago. So
yeah. Well, he brought the Hallowheart meme list, not meme list, but the Hallowheart list, or an iteration of it that essentially won the LVO a couple of years ago, and that's a super hard counter for my list, right? Basically, all the shooting, pepper damage will kill units. Small units with only 5 or 6 up saves right away. So I had to really kind of figure out how I was going to get into him, and rely on the dice rolls. So there's the answer to how that game went. Everything was set up fairly well, kind of nuked a good portion of his army, but couple of charge rolls
wasn't
here.
A good enough portion.
Yeah, a couple of charge rolls here, a couple of maybe pile in indecision points there, and eventually just got shot off the table. He had an amazing army, a lot of callback stuff, and then excuse me,
bless you.
A lot of callback stuff, and just a very fun opponent. He had I think the most standout thing for me from his army was that apparently his girlfriend had crocheted a bunch of banners for his little dudes. So there was little banners going around, all crocheted. I thought it was great.
That's awesome. So little cloth banners, like yarn.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
That's great.
That's super adorable.
Yeah. Then the next one. Let me see. This is the problem I have with not doing my homework. I'm just going to say this each time.
No worries. I'll buy you a second. May I just clarify? Was that a win or a loss for that one? Were you 1-1 or 2-0?
That was a loss.
Okay, 1-1.
Yep.
1-1. You're on the board.
Then the next one. Yeah, I am on the board. Next one to end out the day was against Jessica Schmoller. I hope I'm saying that correctly. She had probably the most beautifully painted army in the entire tournament, and Ricky was playing.
Wow, that's high praise.
So she brought an all cowboy list of Lumineth, and they all had plaid capes, just a gorgeously painted army, gorgeously displayed, and super unique. I don't know how she managed to pull it off, but it stood out the most to me out of all the other armies. Sorry,
that
Ricky.
is so hard to do on miniatures, because like on one hand, I mean the mechanics of doing it itself is obviously very tricky because it's a lot of like little stripes and stuff. Plaid also has a lot of intricacies that you don't really think about when you're like, oh, it's like checkers. It's not checkers. There's a lot more that goes into it. And then also you run into the problem of making the model super busy, if you do it wrong. So
Yep.
like, there's
Yeah.
a whole bunch of places you could really mess that up, and it sounds like she nailed it.
It's like the actual higher skill level version of what people complain about with Harlequins.
Yep. And I'll just, and I want to underline too, this was on every Alarith Stone Guard, and it was done perfectly on each one. If anybody has put together Alarith Stone Guard, then they should know how insane those capes are.
Mm-hmm.
And it was perfectly done. So I just could not get out of my own way of just like staring at her models the whole game.
The capes that all flow to the left, right? Because they're all in the same wind. Wasn't that a big deal when the Lumineth came out? They were all their cloth blows the same way, as if they're all standing in the same wind.
I believe so, yeah. But just the amount of super folds in the capes are just, I don't know how she did it, and I just couldn't stop staring.
Yeah, I got to say that I can appreciate that quite a bit. Just mentally visualizing my version of a cape, which is like load up that brush with some contrast and sploosh it down there, versus the detail work involved with that for like 100 guys or something. Ugh.
It was beautiful, and a beautiful display board too. But she had probably a worse rolling game than I do, and I was just surprised. So she did have a lore master, and I was kind of I wanted to play a little cagey because I wanted her to kind of pick the direction where she was going to go in the game, and knowing that she didn't really have access to teleports or anything like that, then I was pretty much just under the impression that she's going to take an objective. That's where she's going to be. And then she's going to reach out and try and tap me on the other one. So played really cagey for the first 2 turns, and then just somehow just swept through her army. And again, I don't think that was due to, exceptional rolling on my part or exceptional play on my part. Because she just, there was... I got through what's his face? Avalomanor.
Yeah.
Oh, Big Stone Cowman. Yeah.
I got through Big Stone Cowman with just a couple of gutter runners, just with 10 gutter runners.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So like that I don't know if that was my win, but it was definitely her dice's loss.
Oh, no.
So I felt real bad about that one.
That's a tough matchup for her too, because that is a very tough list, right, with all the cow guys. But they are anticipating some kind of big, fuck you punch to the face that they can just sit there and weather and then just grind it down. And if you don't have one of those for them to focus that big unit of cow dudes on, they're kind of wasted.
Yep. And the other thing too is the army, if they can't get up that shrug, they that ignoring rend really does not matter at all.
Oh sure.
So the outside of sitting on an objective, which I was able to just throw enough attacks at her that law of averages and her breaking them to the downside, it just did not work out for her. So
remind me, Matt, was there a tech list in this, or was this nothing like that?
No tech list, just all cowboys with a lore master and what's he called, the just one unit of wardens.
Nice.
Which the only thing that I felt proud of on that one, to be honest, was that I had penned her in from the backside. So in order to take that one objective, she was going to have to move her 1 unit of 15 all up on that objective to get the shrug, and then have to deal with a good third of my army coming from behind as the other 2 sides were coming in from each other's side.
Okay.
So it was interesting.
So an exciting 2-1 to round out the first day.
Yeah, and I was like, "Well, I'm done. That's more than I expected."
There we go.
So time to die.
There we go.
Yeah. Next day, I came in against Alex here, who had just a very interesting survival night haunt list. It was just like, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly move forward and just continue to bring ghosts back, bring ghosts back. bring ghosts back. And
the Necron approach, as it were.
yeah, it was very literally Necrons, but he had bubble wrapped very well. I'd failed a couple of charges to get in where I needed to on turn 1, and basically it was just him cleaning up afterwards. So that was one of the quicker games where the choice of list really helped.
Mm-hmm.
But the awesome player, he you could definitely tell he was one of those players that had been playing Night Hunt long enough, where he had to punch above the army's weight. So he had learned all the little tricks that he could do before he got the new book. And I love coming up with those players.
Night Hunt are doing great right now, and they're definitely not dragging anybody down for the strength of the book.
Yeah, and I'll say the list didn't look scary, right? This looked like, oh, I have to take this out. Oh, I have to take this out. Oh, I have to take this out. Like if it were a moderate player or anybody else who hadn't had that experience,
yeah,
I don't think it would have been the same game. And that's really just a testament to how good he was as a player, and
excellent.
Still is. He's not past tense. Nothing happened. I did not assassinate him with rats. He is still well and alive. But he had his game down. He came in with like an iPad stand, and he had like a little music sheet holder, music stand. And I was like, that would really help my back if I did that crap, wouldn't it?
Honestly, when we were doing the streams for Salmon Hammer, I started playing with my book on a music stand because it's kind of off camera and I can just quick reference it, and it was magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe that's a thing. Maybe I need to start bringing a music stand.
Kind of fun because it reinforced the idea you were orchestrating the battle from up there.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it was definitely. So last one. Oh, and that was a loss, just to underline it. I want to make sure that I feel that pain. Alex Butler, another one of the Canadians, only he was British. And boy, did he come in with some British charm. Oh, boy. He brought a Stormcast Eternals list. Apparently, it was his version of a meme list. So we were 2 meme lists going up against each other. Nice. What it really was.
That's how you want to round out a good GT. You want to get to the last game and just have 2 like-minded people duking it out for what really doesn't matter at this point.
Well, the funny thing is he says it was a meme list, but it was really just a tweaked net list. So tons of Judicators with Boltstorm crossbows. And then he had Bastion, a Lord Relictor, Knight Incantor, Protectors, Retributors, and Longstrikes.
So wait, what meme was this? I don't think I've seen this meme.
The winning meme.
It's that one from Breaking Bad where he just says, "I won" into the
winning. No, it's the full shoot and Protectors, right?
Okay.
So all the Judicators and long strikes. So just tap and move, tap and move, tap and move.
Okay.
But he also brought the Everblaze Comet, which was interesting. Very good player. And immediately seized on the fact that I've had my ass handed to me just by Bastion alone at least 40 times, and that I have an innate fear of Bastion.
Gotcha.
And he just seized on it and just started waltzing Bastion up to the board, and at that point, I'm done with the day, and he's just like, okay, I'm going to put Bastion in this place. Fine. Okay, I'm going to try and kill him. Oh, couldn't kill him. He killed all your guys. Now he's healed. I brought Bastion down to 1 wound left 4 times in that game.
Oh, brutal.
That's so painful. He does do that. He's like a little man-sized Gotrek in that regard.
Yeah. And so that was how that game went. There were a couple of misplays on my part last game of the tournament, and apparently Bastion getting in my head. That he walked away with a healthy win on that one. Yeah. but he had some very saucy British charm there.
Matt's rubbing his fingers together on the camera for those at home.
Nice. Some dry wit to go with all of this.
Yeah, self-proclaimed trolling, and I was that was the icing on the cake.
Yeah,
It was such a gentleman's troll right there. So all in good fun, but whoa, was I not expecting that for the last game of the day? Bastion. Jeez.
So fun.
So
I've had a similar Bastion Carlos experience once where we're just like, get him down to 1 or 2, can't quite connect or get through that crunchy candy shell to finish him off, and it's very dispiriting when he just pops back to full health.
yeah, it was Now take that and multiply it by 4.
Oh man,
that's
one of the guys I play pretty frequently. Mainlines Alariel, so I feel the pain.
Yeah. I'm ready to put her on that table as well.
Nice.
She's strong. She's very strong.
She's very scary.
So I mean, you really got to know your ins and outs of that book to get the most out of her, right? Because like when do you strike and fade her, and when do you just let her sit there because she's going to tank it anyway? You know what I mean?
And there's so many points.
Fun balance to that. But like legitimately, this is a complete tangent. But if you don't kill her on turn 1, she is not worth killing.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about right.
Which is frequently I didn't kill her on turn 1, and so now she's not worth killing. So now I just have to deal with her being here.
It's in some ways she's really an interesting character because of those rules like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the psychological effect of the way she works is just fun and interesting in its own regard. I kind of like when the god characters do that. Like it's like a less straightforward version of Morathi. Morathi is like, I just can't die for this many turns. She's sort of like a resource sink.
Yeah,
in a different way.
Yeah, it is interesting how the different gods work in general, right? And like for instance, this last weekend I did my first teams tournament. The guys from Aegis, shout out to Aegis Games, needed somebody to hop in, and I brought the final incarnation of the meme ninja list that I wanted, which is screw the deceivers because they never knew it. Like never do a damn thing, and let's just go for the underworlds, or not the deceivers. Sorry, the death masters.
I hope you kept the deceivers.
Honestly, I wonder how. There's a different podcast in there wondering how much you lose by sinking points into massive models.
Definitely, we should have the whole topic on that. Like, what is your
Timmy trap
piece?
Yeah. But. No, the Death Masters being attacks earlier to get Warlord Battalion and Galatian Vets was just like, no, I'm done with that. Especially after seeing their performance at my hands, apparently. So I went ahead and got a Slink finally put together, who is the Underworld's Warband Death Master, which can pop out 6 inches away from you. And I promptly forgot that for every game except the last one, I think, at the teams tournament. So good job, me. But hands down, it was a much better list than 2 horrible Death Masters. Anyways, the last game was against the same good old Canadian team. I'm just playing a lot of Canadians these days. Good old Canadians. And Nagash is dumb.
Yeah.
Like he's dumb in a couple of different ways though. Because he has the 4-and-up shrug, but only against mortals, if I remember correctly. Right? He may have it against normal wounds. All I was throwing was mortals in the first place. But like the idea of how little wounds he has is so deceiving. And he has such a different like damage output than the rest of the gods too, and different use cases. So it's so interesting to see those god models and how they interact with the rest of the game. That's all I was going with there.
Let's see, Nagash, 3-up save, 16 wounds, 4-up ward for mortal wounds only.
Yeah. So so my army was already at a disadvantage fighting him outside of the deceivers, right?
Yeah.
Which may or may not have had one chance to get him. I promptly played that game into the ground on my own accord, but it's interesting seeing how, because that's really not a good rule set to have for a god in a high rend meta, right? Like I remember the last time I played against Nagash, just with my Beast of Chaos having 3 rend or 4 rend, he was off the table in one turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I mean, it is sort of funny though, because ironically, that should have been the one where he just got erased, because thematically, Nagash is always having his plans foiled by Skaven assassins. That's literally the book.
I know,
the
right?
Old world, and
but he gets the ridiculous saves against me, and then yeah. Although in theory, 2 deceivers could take him out quite easily with the -3 rend. It's more the getting around the castle that Nagash always needs to have now because of all the rend.
Sure.
It's interesting.
Still fun to see him on the table.
Yeah, it was
Makes
very
perfect
nice to
sense.
see him on the table.
yeah.
Well, sounds like an awesome couple of tournaments there, Matt. And I know you got one this weekend, so that's all very exciting. Just for our listeners, will you be bringing rats for a third round?
Third time's a charm.
Well, so this is the one I've actually been looking forward to. Really looking forward to, because those
last 2 tournaments, bullshit.
Yeah. Those are the garbage.
Last 2 tournaments are obligatory. No, so this is actually, and I really hope that we start seeing more of this. And this is something I'm going to see if I can start putting together in the local area as well. So this is actually going to be a 750 point tournament.
Oh,
Ooh.
Which means
spicy.
Well, the exact opposite of spicy, right? A good full
Full pellet.
hearty meal that doesn't knock you off your chair after 2 days, right? So 750 points, and the goal of the tournament is more to work on showing off your models, enjoying your games instead of playing to a high competitive nature.
Nice.
And I think in this area, I know the rest of the world is probably a little bit different, but we are lacking RTTs and smaller events where people can just play Warhammer as opposed to play to win. And I'm very much
high competitive GTs.
Yep. And so this is the one I'm excited most about. So we'll see what I take. Because it's 750 points, I have to actually, get out of the mindset that I even, 750 points. What do I even do there? Is that
what's the meta even like at 750 points? Yeah.
It's like a whole new meta.
Do I even want to care about the meta at 750 points? What are the prettiest models that I have?
Yeah, that's a good point.
What's the theme I want to run with?
That I think is what's so good about it, though, Matt, because people are so geared up for 2,000 point games and running the GT that no one's prepared to try to find some internal consistency and get their stuff done balanced at 750. And all the packages people have distilled through stare at a net list or cogitate themselves won't apply.
Yep.
So you can just have fun with whatever and probably win your games.
Yeah. And if I lose, it'll be quick.
Yeah.
I played a couple of
Good on the back. Good on that back.
Yeah.
I played a couple of 600 point Path to Glory missions with the Seraphon, and they were super fun. It was just like a couple of units of skinks, 3 Ripperdactyls, and a Ripperdactyl chief.
Love it.
That was basically the list. I think I might have had a Star Priest in there or a regular priest, but it was very bare bones.
Yeah, and I think there's a little bit. There's got to be a different mentality, right? So different players show up to that where you're more worried about the in-game fun as opposed to the in-game wins. So I'm excited for that one. But
That'll be awesome.
Honestly have no idea what I'm going to take. So I think it's between Spiders, Boingrot Bounder list, or Slanesh, probably.
Well,
If I were you, I know what I would pick.
I'm still waiting on the book. This is a drag at Charles No, this is more of a drag at Mox. I've been bitching and complaining because it took me forever. Like I ordered a GHB from Mox on pre-order, right? It just came in last week.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know why that happens to you guys. You clearly have a lot of like demand, and it's a modern world, so I don't know how it gets there like so slowly. Is it like it gets to Boston where I get it like day of release? They put on the Oregon Trail wagon and slowly make their way up.
I don't know.
Right, a bunch of guys on.
Here's
on
the funny
horses.
thing. Here's the funny thing, right? So like I'm commiserating with Charles about that, and he's telling me about a specific store, an online store that sends them out, so that they get there on the release date, right? The day you're supposed to be able to buy it in store, it should arrive. Well, I'm super jazzed about the new Slaanesh book. I've had one practice game against Charles with it, and Charles being Charles, he's finding all the fun stuff to do with a list that I will never play. So I'm super excited to see what I can come up with. Right
there, we go.
Well,
I saw it joined the Day Zero FAQ club, which is exciting.
It was needed, but like
Sure.
I don't really like. I'm not going to play Pretenders, to be honest. I don't feel like that's my thing. Yeah, you can't do you can't do a -5 rend, whatever it is, because that's people reaching so hard.
It would have been so fun to do it with a contorted epitome, though, because it starts out with 11 attacks.
Yeah. So anyways, here so I get back. He gets his book. And I'm like, oh, he gets his book. Mine hasn't come because, getting back from the team's tournament on Saturday, you expect your book. You ordered this book. Charles told you you'd get this book. No book. So I got to wait until Wednesday, right? Well, I go get my oil changed yesterday. No, I'm up in the air. I'm like, oh, I'll just hop in Mox. Maybe they have, I need a white primer. No way they're going to have anything that I want there. They have the dice. They have the book. They have multiple copies of the book just there on release day for the first time. So Charles, so I had to walk past the book. I'm like, I can't repeat.
Oh, that's some temptation
so
right there, man.
Yeah, it is. Do I want 2 books? Do I need 2 books? I could. No, just waiting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you should bring the Slaanesh. It'll be so fun, even without that one band-aided hijink we just described. It's really cool. I think if you play Hedonites seriously for a long time, you learn a couple things. Working that close to its Slaanesh. 1, taint is not just an affliction; it's a place.
Mm-hmm.
2, depravity is your friend. And 3, it's possible to touch someone in a way that hurts them and tickles them at the same time. And I think that they really roll those last 2 well into the whole new mechanic for depravity generation.
They really do. They really do. The amount of 6s, I was just like, okay, fine. Okay. You got it. You take that 6. I'll take it. This is mine now. Yeah. The new book is so awesome. I'm super excited for it. Now I need to actually build something other than Twin Souls, though, which is a little bit depressing.
That is tough.
It's true. Also, I think both you and I, Matt, need to build specifically 6 little funny thirst trap temptation dice holders, so we can just put them next to units when the time is right.
Oh yeah, I like that. We gotta
I really like the Danny DeVito meme of "Can I offer you a 6 in this trying time?"
That's good. That's very good.
Maybe it should be 6 little Danny DeVitos in different poses.
That'd be amazing. Maybe a little Danny DeVito dice holder.
Yeah,
exactly.
That'd be fantastic.
3D skull from Funny Moments and Always Sunny in Philadelphia or something like that.
Yeah. I'm excited for Slaanesh. What do you think of your running there?
For me, it's a little tough because, this is the year of the Slaaneshi flavored Slaves to Darkness. So I'm not about to go run off the tournaments with them. I'm pot committed to STDs. I guess it's thematic. And then.
Not if you have, I guess it's dependent on the STD, right?
That's true. That's true.
Dependent.
In Providence, but but I guess I digress. Really, there's so much good stuff to ally in, just in terms of like tech pieces. I'm definitely doing a bunch of that. But if I was to play like a big 2K, tournament or event with it right now, I think I'd probably have to gravitate towards the Pretender still for the command point shenanigans, and then just play around with that because I think you can get so much mileage out of that stuff.
I'm gonna say Godseekers is the one that I will lean to because free re-rolling charges for everything.
So it's a move surprising CP. No one. Matt chooses the movement subfaction.
Oh, it's free CP. Let's think about it this way. That means I've got one more CP.
Yeah, to never re-roll a charge. No, I get that completely.
And I think in the long run, in a longer game, especially if I am going to lean away from taking the Never Summons Grand Strat, which admittedly is the best one in the book because they're really good now. They do not need summoning to get the job done.
That's true, but that one's almost like it's 100% guaranteed. But you're just playing your army, you're kind of 95% guaranteed to the other one. Where you just get 36, and then just choose not to spend it if you don't get more.
I'm just worried about rolling dice fair. Not getting the 36.
Yeah. I can see that.
That's the way I have to look at any of those. It's like 36. Oh man, I don't know, man. I don't know. It'll be easier to not summon than guarantee me rolling 30s and getting to a 36.
But you can get like 10 every turn, every combat phase by wiping a screen.
Yeah,
right?
Or more if you just get one target with something that hits pretty well. Just
Yeah.
That is possible. Yes,
I actually think the Never Summon Grand strategy is really funny and thematic because it will consistently put you in this place of I feel like I need to summon to win this game because it's on a razor's edge. But to do that sacrifices 3 points.
Well, and I think that
that feels very Slaaneshi to me.
That certainly is. That's on point, Miles.
Well, and I think where it I don't even get to the Slaaneshi part of it is just the way that tournaments are scored right now for the ITC format. That not only is it a tie, well, not only is it 3 points in game, it's 3 points after game. So I don't really see it as that until that scoring system changes because it's a guaranteed loss if you summon. It's not even like I'm going to win this game. It's a guaranteed loss in general because you're not going to get your 3 points for your next placement if you lose the grand strat.
Yeah, which is kind of rough. You separates you from the pack in the wrong way by doing that.
Yeah, so it really, I mean, I guess if you really want to submarine yourself, I'm looking at you bad players that are submarining yourself. So I'm thinking it's not a trap. It's a guaranteed, to be honest, right?
Sure.
So.
I mean, it does do that. Like, it's one of those things where if you showed up and someone had like meteor strikes from heaven army or something where just everything went right and you got wiped off the table with an alpha strike, which could very easily happen in this book, and you still get your 3 points. It's something.
Yeah. So it's one of those where it's like it almost feels bad to take it because in a competitive setting, with the ITC rules, it becomes a almost feel bad's negative play experience.
So guaranteed.
Negative play experience.
Yeah.
So it's the same with the Tzeentch one, right? Just not going to use any of those Destiny dice. Cool. Done.
Or for that matter, build them back up after you've used them. Right? There's plenty of ways to do that in the Tzeentch book to get those back.
Any of those grand strats are just like auto takes. Like, yeah, of course you got to do it if you have it, but it doesn't feel like you earned it, does it? It's like you got the KO one where it was like, get in your boat and out of your boat, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and it feels a little weird that ITC, knowing that this is an issue, would double down on. But anyway, I don't have to. We don't. That's not how the scoring is out here, so we don't have that issue. Right.
Yeah.
The grand strategy is just 3 in-game points, so it's a perfectly valid sacrifice if it means, like it. If it means 2 more 5-point turns versus 3 points at the end of the game, you take 2 5-point turns.
Yep.
It is funny how, like, when you're doing the tournament play, like the ITC considerations for the meta do sort of sculpt how you make choices like that. I'm having a very separate one right now where I'm playing the meta of waiting for them to respond to the TO from the last tournament I played and to send them a token so those scores can actually show up. But
Gotta love that pain. That is the worst pain.
And
I'm
that
doing
happens
well.
all the time. Those guys, I mean, at some level, they're all volunteers. It's a thankless gig,
God bless them for that, no doubt.
But also the amount of frustration it causes me, it's so high.
I mean, I would argue it's less than a thankless gig, right? Because they get so much shit from pretty much everybody. If they miss like 3 hours, 4 hours, right?
Yeah.
So like I try not to be as like grumpy about it unless there's like specific cases where I know like why, that's a little behind the scenes. Yeah, we're going to leave that
Sounds
discussion
good
on the table somewhere else.
Yeah, we can park that one for now. I try to take it with equanimity. It'll show up eventually, but
yeah, like for the most part, it's kind of like, come on guys, we're just moving toy soldiers across the board. It'll be okay. It really will be okay. You'll be fine.
It will be okay.
But I suppose we all have to have something to grumble over, right?
Oh yeah, grumble.
I mean, that's the hobby. That's the game. I think it's amazing that anybody even likes this game.
Hey, this isn't Blood Bowl. This isn't Blood Bowl. A lot of people like this game.
Yeah,
that's true.
You wouldn't know it for sure.
Oh my god, yeah, it's true. It is funny though.
Well, maybe on that bombshell, we should wrap it up for today. Thanks, Matt, for bringing us all the news from Seattle and the Seattle area, the Pacific Northwest.
Yes, the great PNW. If you were to say that acronym it's PNW, but I'm going to say PNW.
PNW.
Yeah, the Pune region of the world, reachable only by 18th century wagon trains.
Yes. Or immediate teleportation in the case of the book that I ordered.
There you go.
I still have this mental image of like this like covered wagon, like a broken axle somewhere on the plains with his army books spilling out the back, and this guy like an old fashioned dress, just like yelling at his doggy.
The book is like sitting upside down in a pile of mud with like a skull and a shovel next to it.
Yeah, it was delayed unnecessarily by the dysentery the rest of the party suffered.
I know, and that one ox that drowned.
Oh yeah.
While that's happening, I also just I'm thinking about Mox, and there's just a little brundlefly just hanging out and placing only the Korn and Slaanesh books up on the table and then walking out.
Yeah.
Just shuffling
magic.
out slowly before, asking for the shotgun. So, damn it. Yeah, I think that's a great place to end.
Sounds good.
God, that was a sad movie.
Well, thanks to everybody for listening, I guess.
Yes.
Hopefully we didn't ruin your day.
I know.
As always, remember to let the little men out of your audio playing device so that they can go eat and drink and whatever.
It's the button on the side that says eject. If you're listening to this somehow from a Walkman.
Yeah.
Exactly. And please feel free to spread the word far and wide to learn the Slaaneshi secrets contained herein, should they wish to listen as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
Next time.
Strike class.
Good.
All
Yep, striking last.